Well, it is time to put a ribbon on this broadcast with the Alderson's Award West postgame show. For trophies, awards, t-shirts, and so much more, go to aldersons.net for their full catalog. Welcome back to Fouts Field here at South Sound Stadium. I'm Josh Kaiser alongside Keith Clark and Kerry Clark. And for those of you watching or on demand, or if you're watching this postgame show in the recap on Eli Sports Network, here is what happened. Things got started late in the first quarter with a 7-yard touchdown rush from Posse for, Central Kitsap. The PAT was good. 7-0 lead there, and that was the end of our first quarter score. It was 7-0. Early in the second, Timberline would find the scoreboard with a 9-yard touchdown pass from Brown to Whitehead. PAT was good, gnawing things up at 7. Just a minute later, though, about a minute and a half later, Hall with an 18-yard touchdown run. The PAT was good here for the Cougs to put their lead up 14-7. Timberline would respond, though, with a score with 3 minutes before halftime, with scoring a 2-yard touchdown run to tie things up at 14-14. In the second half, it would be Central Kitsap with a strong start with a 19-yard touchdown run from Hall. PAT was good, 21-14. Hall wasn't done yet, though, with a 1-yard touchdown run with 2:55 remaining in the third quarter to extend that lead to 28-14. And little did we know that would be the Cougars' last score of the game, as Segura would end up responding, coming in at quarterback with a 5-yard touchdown run. PAT was good to put the score at 28-21. And then Segura would find Rith for a 22-yard touchdown pass to tie things up at 28-28. And then, of course, the 44-yard field goal by the sophomore. Oh, my gosh, I ended up losing my notes here. Gage Pedro, as time expired, to put Timberline over the top, 31-28, victorious tonight. Time expired.
Yeah, I mean, that was a heck of a game. I mean, you got a tie game at halftime, and then Central Kitsap pulls out to a 2-touchdown lead, and then Timberline's quarterback goes down at the end of the third quarter, and then they rally off 17 unanswered points for the sophomore to kick a 44-yard field goal for the win. So you and I talked about this should be a great matchup on paper, and it came down to literally the last play. And like we said, whoever had the ball last was going to win this game. And Timberline, man, way to stay with it.
No, and that's what you touched on, the team that has the last, and that indeed was the case. And little did we know it was going to be a field goal as time expired. So Timberline, absolutely no quit in this team, especially after quarterback, I kept referring to him as Brown, as Jackson Brown gets knocked out of the game.
Yeah.
So Franco Segura comes into this one, and they end up rallying around him. I mean, when you lose your leader like that, I mean, the quarterback is the leader of your offense.
Right.
You got two things. You can either rally or fold. And this team rallied hard tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, that one, we'll see how the quarterback, how he is. Brown, I'm sure he's probably got a concussion. We don't know that for sure, so I don't want to put that out there. But he took a pretty good shot and didn't return, so that's what we're assuming. But it feels like the Blazers rallied around that inspiration right there and were able to pull this one off. And 17 unanswered points. The defense stepped up, and then they were able to score those touchdowns. That was just unbelievable finish. How exciting.
You started to feel that pendulum of momentum really start to swing with that McNeely interception early in the fourth quarter here. And it's about that fourth quarter was the only time tonight where the Central Kitsap offense seemed like it really started to peel out and just not gain any traction. I think they only got across midfield once or twice here in the second half, outside of a couple of the big plays that led to scores.
Exactly. I mean, they were able to score pretty quickly there in the third quarter, and then nothing after that. And the Blazers made some adjustments and just kind of, and Central Kitsap got a little conservative, which kind of bit them in the end there. But you definitely got to give the Blazers defense credit late in that third quarter and all the fourth quarter to keep them scoreless for that 17 unanswered points.
17 unanswered points. And, of course, Timberline going to be trying to ride high on this one. Going into their next game, they will be hosting Capital here again next Friday. In Central Kitsap, they're already looking on to the next one. They're going to be hosting River Ridge next Friday, so a chance for them to bounce back against a good Hawk squad. And Timberline, once again, going to have a good matchup there with Capital from what I've seen. Two pretty balanced teams once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a tough loss for Central Kitsap, but it's still relatively early in the season and a lot of season ahead of them. But what a great win for the Blazers to bounce them forward.
Let's see, before we get to our players of the game, you got any final thoughts on this one tonight?
I'd say final thought. I mean, just what a game. I mean, it made us look like geniuses. We said whoever was going to have the ball last was going to win this, and on paper, it's a great matchup. It's exactly what it turned out to be.
I appreciate when they make us look like geniuses. I will give the kids credit for that. So I guess without any further ado, let's take a look at our visiting team MVP. Our visiting team MVP is brought to you by Pacific Sports Spa in Chehalis. Pacific Sports Spa can get you back in the game in a hurry and is a leader in rapid recovery and get your game ready at Pacific Sports Spa. So there was a couple players here for Central Kitsap we could have strongly considered giving it to. Of course, a couple guys that come to mind, of course, are the quarterback, Kalai Posse. Josiah Johnson would have been a good one if the PA or the punt return was standard, but there seems to be one guy we kept saying his name over and over.
Yeah, and I would say Cooper Hall, number 25, the running back, had some really nice runs, and he seemed unstoppable there in the third quarter, and was able to get their 3 touchdowns for them. But, I would give him the visiting player of the game for sure.
Absolutely. As you said, the 3 touchdowns, and on those touchdowns alone were 38 rushing yards, so very close to that century mark, more than likely on the ground tonight. So congratulations to our Pacific Sports Spa player of the game, Cooper Hall. And over on our home side of things, our home MVP is brought to you by Thorbeck's Wellness Center in Chehalis, Centralia, and South Bend. Strong today, stronger tomorrow, strongest together at Thorbeck. So a couple of honorable mentions here tonight. I mean, Franco Segura coming in the clutch at quarterback. Jackson Brown had a very strong game. Mikhail Whitehead. I mean, several players on a Timberline squad stepped up, but there was one guy that seemed to really stand out to us.
Yeah, Gage Pedro, the sophomore, 6'3", 210 kicker and punter. Him drilling that 44-yard field goal to win the game definitely earned him the player of the game for sure.
I like it, Gage Pedro, and we're giving it to a kicker, something I don't think I've ever done. And it wasn't just the kicking. He really helped in the field position battle on the punts, too.
Yeah,
so it was more than just that kick. But how much more player of the game could you get with the game-winning score as time expires? So congratulations to Gage Pedro, our Thorbeck's home player of the game.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Well, that puts a wrap on this one. Once again, our final score tonight, Timberline 38, Central Kitsap 28. We'll see you next time right here on the Eli and FHS Sports Networks.
We're out.
Have a good night.
Thank you for watching and subscribing to the Eli and NFHS Sports Networks. Remember, a portion of your subscription goes back to the schools. We can't wait to see you again.